around H-Town with KRBE's Freddy Cruz.
The stats are both heartbreaking and angering. In 2015 alone, Texas had over 66,700 confirmed victims of child abuse and neglect, including over 6,000 here in Harris County. Texas also suffered 171 child abuse and neglect-related deaths, including 25 here in Harris County. Thankfully, Crime Stoppers is doing something about it, and here to discuss their plan to prevent child abuse and these tragic deaths, Executive Director Rania Mankarious.
Hello, how are you?
All right, so let's begin with the program launched at the beginning of the month.
Yes. So Crime Stoppers of Houston, through our Safe Community program, is really adamant that education can mitigate almost any type of criminal activity, especially child abuse. So we partnered with the Children's Assessment Center, the Harris County District Attorney's Office, and our law enforcement partners to launch this massive campaign to educate people, let them realize that child abuse is a community problem. You know, I talk to so many people that say, well, you know, child abuse really is a personal family issue. 95% of those kids, 95% are victimized by a parent or by a mother's boyfriend or a father's girlfriend. So you know what? It's a family. It's really none of our business. And that kills me because it's a human problem. Right. And every one of those kids, you know, that is crying at night, that is suffering at night, that is sleeping cold or hungry or knows that they are about to be victimized as soon as it gets dark, it's our responsibility to stop. So education's critical. Getting the community involved is critical. And then what Crime Stoppers is able to do is highlight those wanted for child abuse and neglect and any type of criminal activity against children, and hope and ask that the community come together to help us find them. And so we do that through our Harris County law enforcement partners and through HPD, and we're very lucky that we have that arm and we can do that.
And if you see something, you can say something simply by calling in an anonymous tip. You know the number, 713-222-TIPS. You can also text the word tip followed by 610. That's tip 610 to the word crimes. If you spell it out on your phone, that's 274637. Info is at crime-stoppers.org. And where can people go for resources and education so that they too can take part in child abuse prevention in their neighborhood?
We want people to go to our website first and foremost. We have a resource center, crime-stoppers.org, and you can learn all about it. But also we want people to feel a connection to this issue, to learn the signs, to look for kids that seem overly aggressive or engage in risky behavior or seem to come to school with clothes that's not clean and hair that's messy or dirty, fingernails that are dirty, that seem overly hungry, that seem afraid to go home. You know, look for the signs and invest time, energy, resources into children like that. There may be nothing wrong, but it very well could be that they're going home to an abusive situation, or they're going home to a home where there's nobody and no food and no one to care for them. And every child needs almost like a guardian angel or an advocate. And that's what we're challenging the community to do this month. And not just this month, but every month with Crime Stoppers.
And you're working in conjunction with the schools around town to provide these resources and education for the parents.
Absolutely. We're in as many schools as will take us. It's always free. And part of our messaging is to talk to kids about anything that's going on with their lives. It's not uncommon that Michelle Sachs, our Safe School Manager, will be in a school and a child will disclose physical or sexual abuse. But also we want to talk to parents in the schools and school administrators about their duty to recognize and report child abuse. Certainly it's something they know, but it needs to be reminded because we know that the numbers, as staggering as they are, and you started by sharing them, they're increasing, especially in Harris County. It's another area where Harris County leads the country. And as Crime Stoppers, an organization, we don't want Harris County to be leading the country, leading the state in human trafficking and child abuse and any of these topics. We want to stop it.
And really, when you think about the number of deaths in relation to the overall population, it's way too many, and we would like to get the number down to zero.
Exactly.
Zero.
And you think, we know that the median age for child abuse is about 9 years old, but those kids that die are usually 1 or under 3 years old. And you think those are when your children need you the most. I mean, they're dependent on you to eat. They're dependent on you to stay safe in the car, by a pool, at home, to get in and out of a crib. I mean, they're dependent on you for every single thing. And to be abused or neglected to the point of losing your life, I mean, just take one moment to think what that means for that child. And if your heart doesn't break for that child, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with you. Because
it's just unfathomable. Because as a parent, you're a parent too. We're like, who are these people?
Yes. And the thing is, when you think of these kids, you don't even have to be a parent to care. You have to just be a human being. But then when you also think of these abusers, let's remember, they're not necessarily monsters. They're people that maybe can't handle the pressure of having children. They don't understand what realistically having a child is like, the expense of it, the behaviors of it, the crying, there are colicky kids. There are kids that have disabilities in a whole spectrum. And there are parents who maybe it's just too much. So if we can just educate and say, look, there's always help. There's always somebody who's willing to adopt your child or take your child or help you through it, parent your way through it, resources if you can't afford to feed them. There's some other avenue besides taking your frustration out on a child. That's a key message for us this month.
And I do want to talk about neglect, because I seriously just can't wrap my head around the fact that we are in the richest country in the world and there are children dying of neglect.
Yeah.
So what is Crime Stoppers doing in conjunction with maybe local food kitchens or the authorities?
For us, it's all about driving people and awareness. And we are very lucky because we have a large platform and we have such wonderful relationships with the media that if we can catch the attention of these people and turn them to any type of resource, that's what we want to do. And most of all, we want to tell people that it doesn't have to happen. Houston is one of the most philanthropic cities in America.
Absolutely.
Second only to Seattle, last we checked. So we are number 2 in the